The city bustled with holiday cheer, carolers sang on the sidewalks, and store windows glittered with lights and fake snow. Inside a small toy shop tucked between a coffeehouse and a bookstore, warmth and wonder filled the air. Children laughed as they pointed to dolls and superheroes, tugging their parents' sleeves. But near the front, standing just outside the door with frost on her scarf, was a little girl, Lena. Her cheeks were red from the cold, and her fingers peeked out from torn gloves. In her hand, she tightly held a wrinkled piece of paper and a few small bills. She stood for a moment, staring through the glass at the toy trucks on the shelf. Her breath fogged up the window. After a deep breath, she pushed the door open. The jingle of the bell above barely drew attention, but Daniel, the cashier, and owner of the small shop, noticed her. He watched as she walked past the flashy toys straight to the corner display, where the red toy truck sat. It wasn't the biggest or the newest, but it was sturdy, and bright, and perfect in her eyes. She gently lifted it off the shelf like it was fragile, cradling it like treasure. She walked slowly to the counter, placed it down, and began unfolding the bills, 2 ones, a quarter, and a few coins. "Excuse me, sir," she said in a small, polite voice. "Is this enough?" Daniel glanced at the price, $14.99. Then he looked at her face. She was trying hard not to show fear or sadness, her shoulders small but strong. "I'm getting it for my little brother," she added quickly. "He's in the hospital. He loves trucks. I've been saving." Her words landed like a punch to Daniel's chest. He looked at the coins, then back at her face, so full of hope, yet bracing for rejection. And in that moment, Daniel knew, this was not just a sale. It was a story waiting to be changed. Daniel knelt down so he could see Lena eye to eye. He offered a gentle smile, the kind only someone who had lived through loss and love could give. "What's your name, sweetheart?" he asked softly. "Lena," she replied, still holding on to the toy truck, as if letting go might break something inside her. "And your brother?" "Jamie," she said. "He's 5. He had to stop school because of his treatments. But he's really brave. He always tells me, 'Don't cry, Lena. I'm gonna get better.'" Her voice cracked a little on the last word, but she smiled through it, like she had practiced being strong in front of him. Daniel felt a tightness in his chest. He had a daughter around the same age. After losing his wife, he had come to know what quiet pain looked like. And here it was again, in this little girl who should be laughing, not calculating change for a toy. She carefully began sliding the coins back into her coat pocket. "I understand," she whispered. "Maybe next year." But Daniel gently stopped her hand. "Wait here a second, okay?" He disappeared into the back room. Lena stood frozen, unsure whether to run or hope. The warmth of the store wrapped around her like a blanket, and for the first time in a while, she felt safe. When Daniel returned, he was holding the exact same red truck, this time wrapped in shiny blue gift paper, a silver ribbon curled on top. He bent down and handed it to her with a small envelope tucked under the bow. "This one's from Santa," he said with a wink. Lena stared, speechless. "But I didn't pay." Daniel smiled. "You already did, Lena. With your love, for your brother. That's more than enough." Tears welled in her eyes, but she quickly blinked them away. She held the gift tightly, whispered, "Thank you," and hugged it to her chest like a miracle had just been handed to her. The holidays passed, and the toy shop returned to its usual rhythm. The festive music was gone, the decorations packed away, and Daniel was back to long, quiet shifts behind the counter. He often found his eyes drifting to the bulletin board, where he had pinned up a hand-drawn Christmas card from his daughter and a list of toys that hadn't sold. It was just past closing time one cold evening when the bell above the door jingled unexpectedly. Daniel looked up, surprised. It wasn't often someone came in after dark in January. Standing in the doorway was a woman wrapped in a worn but clean coat. Beside her stood Lena, now smiling brightly. And holding her hand was a small boy in a knit hat, Jamie. His face looked pale but happy, his eyes lit with the kind of joy Daniel remembered from Christmas mornings long ago. "Hi," Lena said, her voice much louder than before. "We came to see you." Daniel stepped out from behind the counter, startled but pleased. The mother spoke next, her voice soft and shaky. "I just wanted to thank you. Lena told me everything you did. That toy, it was more than a gift." Jamie held up the red truck proudly. "I took it to the hospital," he said. "I was scared, but I kept it with me. I told the doctor it was my brave truck." Daniel knelt down, touched by the boy's words. "That truck's got a lot of heart, just like you, buddy." Lena handed Daniel a folded piece of paper. It was a hand-drawn picture of him wearing a superhero cape, standing behind the toy counter, with the words, "Our Christmas Angel," in colorful crayon letters. Daniel's throat tightened. He blinked back tears, managing a soft, "Thank you." The mother looked at him gratefully. "You didn't just give a toy. You gave my children hope." And for Daniel, in that quiet moment, it felt like he'd received the greatest gift of all. That night, long after the shop had closed and the lights had dimmed, Daniel sat alone in the small break room at the back of the store. In his hand, he held Lena's drawing, the one where she had turned him into a superhero with a red cape and kind eyes. The words, "Our Christmas Angel," were written in crayon, but to Daniel, they felt etched into his heart. He stared at the picture for a long time, remembering the look on Jamie's face when he held up that toy truck, and Lena's quiet bravery when she first walked into his store. He thought about his own daughter, asleep at home, and the pain they both carried after losing his wife, their anchor. For the first time in a while, Daniel didn't feel like he was just getting by. He felt purpose. He realized that sometimes, in the middle of our own struggles, we're given a chance to become someone else's miracle, even if just for a moment. The next morning, he cleared out a corner of the shop and set up a small table with a hand-painted sign. "Angel Gifts, take what you need, no questions asked." He began collecting small toys, books, mittens, anything a child in need might want or need. Customers noticed. Some donated. Others shared stories. And slowly, the little toy store became something more than a business. It became a haven. Every Christmas after that, Daniel made sure that no child left his store empty-handed. Whether they had money or not, he made sure they felt seen, valued, loved. Word spread, and every year, letters poured in from families who had received his kindness. One letter simply read, "You didn't just give a gift, you reminded us that the world still has good people in it." And Daniel, once just a grieving single father trying to stay afloat, became something more too. He became living proof that kindness costs nothing, but it can change everything.